you put it, Dave?
He went on and basically Tyler Dundit. Yes, I'm referring to you, Tyler Dunn, as putting out that article from months ago, trying to go ahead and make Rodgers look bad. You took certain pinpoints and you tried to cherry pick all the bad stuff, and that way to build up your little article, your conversation you wanted to build, whatever it was called. It's just, it looks like something when you were bored and you just picked together and made it Bucky Brooks. I wish you're hearing this right now because of the fact that, I mean, it's not just Packers fans, it's NFL fans. I mean, the whole recently thing, really? If Rodgers wasn't around last year on a broken leg, mind you, we'd be 0-16 probably last year.
Great players elevate other players. 2016, the defensive tackle played freaking guard in an NFC championship game where the only starting lineman left from any point in the season was Corey Linsley. He had no left tackle, no left guard, no right tackle. And they were in the NFC championship game and had two players not fumbled going in to score. They would have went into halftime tied up 28-28, not down 28-14. The whole game would have been different. So I'm just so sick and tired of this lazy crap that people want to put out. Like, you can make the argument with rings and stats, and I can respect that because you use that universally. But these people that do this crap, they double talk and they talk in circles and chase their tail and contradict themselves in their own arguments. They use statistics that will lie to you like the devil trying to steal your soul to make their point. And it's gotten to the point where guys like this that I respect and I have learned a lot of how this game operates from are now resorting to running out of ways to keep themselves relevant and putting crap like this out. And it's disappointing. I'm not mad. I am highly disappointed. It's like a parent, like, Bucky Brooks, I'm disappointed in you, bro. But come on, you're better than this.
What is it? Come on, man.
Yeah, you got Greg Jennings, for God's sakes, defending him, and Greg hasn't said a nice thing about Rodgers since he left Green Bay
up for him in the
after
past
2013.
5 years.
So let's listen to what Jennings had to say.
You like it when basically the article says what I believe, what Bucky believes. You've never stated that Aaron's overrated, but you have become a openly honest, critical voice of Aaron. And I know you've probably gotten blowback on that,
of course,
from Green Bay fans,
from everyone.
But you appear to be comfortable with your place right now in Packerland. So when you see these articles take me to where you are in Packerland now as the TV analyst of note in America, willing to criticize at certain junctures Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, I'm completely disliked in Packerland when it comes to any comment, any topic. It's almost as if I speak down about the Packer organization, or I'm kind of the arrow that always tries to put a spear or arrow in the head of what's going on in the Packer organization or Packer world. But let me say this. I've always been very critical, constructively of Aaron Rodgers because I have an experience not only with him, but within that organization. So I've been validated to do so. But I have never once been unfair when it comes to his ability on the football field. Now, with saying that, I respect Bucky. I love everything that he does, and I think that his article validates his point. His argument is completely validated because of the statistics that he chose to put together and make sure that his point was made. However, I throw out every statistic in this when it comes to this topic simply because the eye test. That's all I need. I don't care if you don't want this monitor right now has no volume. And if we showed Aaron Rodgers and all his flaws and his highlights, we want that guy.
Right.
We don't have to have anyone show us or flash any statistic or anything, any general manager. This is why they rate him number one, because they understand if I'm standing on the opposing sideline and number 12 in green and gold is on the football field, I'm a little nervous. Actually, I'm a lot nervous because I have the opportunity to allow what I feel like I can obtain as a win slip through my hands because of him. You can't tell me there's one general manager out there or owner that wouldn't take that guy. Not one. Above, and when I look at Patrick Mahomes, is he great? Absolutely. I'm not taking anything away from any of those guys. But you look at guys like Phillip Rivers, he hasn't won a championship. Is he effective? Yes. But we have to pull the numbers to support that. But am I in terror when Phillip Rivers has the ball with 2 minutes remaining? You don't think, oh, he's going to beat me. No, you don't think that. Can he? Absolutely. Drew Brees, do you think that? Yes. Tom Brady, do you think that? Yes. Russell Wilson, do you think that? Yes. The guys like that, you think that about, and you put them in a high regard. Aaron Rodgers has never been a timing quarterback. He can be, but what makes him most lethal is his ability not to be. His ability to be effective, unscripted, without being on time. That's what makes him so scary to opposing coordinators and opposing defenses.
Yeah, he did not play within a system. He's got his own. He's like, a little bit like LeBron. He becomes the system. He's got a way of doing it, and then you kind of build it around his strengths.
You know what? I'm glad you mentioned LeBron because this is another thing that bothers me about this article. And again, I respect Bucky, and I think he does a phenomenal job. And I agree with him to a certain extent, just not when it comes to Aaron's not a top 5 quarterback. When you look at Aaron Rodgers last year, his health played a huge role. And I know he mentions, everybody's going to mention his health. Well, it's no different than LeBron James. We can completely snatch him from the greatest player in the National Basketball Association because he missed 18 games and we didn't see the best that he had to offer the entirety of the year. And most importantly, when it matters, when all eyeballs glued to a television, playoffs. We didn't see him in the playoffs. So we started to see and respect and get exposed to other talent. That's what then draws us away from, man, this guy may be better than LeBron James. Why are we saying that? Because we don't have him to look at every single day like we once did. Aaron Rodgers has been in that situation where the year before last he was
2
injured.
years, he's missed a bunch of games.
He's missed a bunch of games. So he hasn't been able to – so your stats are going to be tailored to make sure that, okay, let me cut off this. Well, you can't really say a full year because he didn't play a full year. We don't have a full 2 years to go off of for Aaron Rodgers. So, again, if I'm a general manager – and, again, I am very critical of Aaron Rodgers. But when it comes to his play, I have never been one to say he is not the best. He is – I wouldn't say he's the GOAT because of Tom Brady and what he's been able to accomplish, but Aaron Rodgers is right there in that question because of the threat that he poses. Yeah. He just doesn't have the wins to align with it.
Almost like you're making up to him right here in the herd.
Not at all. I'm not a makeup type of guy. I've never had a grudge or anything, but
I know.
Me
same way.
Oh, I'll be watching.
All right, we're back now, and he had Greg Jennings, for God's sakes, Dave, defending him there. And,
one of the biggest naysayers.
Right, and what I think is funny is that Cowherd, there's another clip, we're not going to play it, but Cowherd basically come on trying to agree on a separate clip with Bucky Brooks. And he
of course he is. He's Aaron Rodgers hater.
Well, yeah, but remember a couple months ago he was all talking about how Aaron was going to win this division and they're a dark horse and all da-da-da-da, and he was all sucking Aaron's butt then, and now all of a sudden somebody came out that he's friends with, so he's the dude is never consistent in anything he does, except for the fact that he's inconsistent. I mean, he's a great content creator, and I like to listen to him because he's good at what he does, but boy, he can make a guy mad if you try to, actually believe anything that comes out of his mouth. He's just not as extremely irrational as Skip Bayless, but it's kind of the same note there. He'll drive you nuts if you try to actually take anything he says to heart, because he'll try to turn it right around and argue the argument you agree with him against you. It's maddening sometimes.
Yeah, it definitely is. Because Cowherd, God, yeah, he's a flipper-flopper. The guy, he doesn't know what he wants. I don't even bother watching his show anymore because I'm such a big fan of Good Morning Football. I stick to NFL Network a lot, and I don't even bother with it because James Jones is a huge Rodgers supporter, and he's experienced being with Rodgers. So he literally had to go through and correct everything that was written down these articles on what came out negative, and everyone doesn't say a thing now because guys who actually played with him stand up for him. And a perfect example, Jay, is this. NFL Top 100, go NFL Top 100, go watch the clip of Rodgers, number 8. You will see more people or more players in there come through and say the guy's a warrior, the guy's a leader, and specifically the team plays up around him. I say that loudly because of the fact people can't always say he can't make a team better around him and bring up players around him. When you go listen to that clip, you got Bears players like Danny Trevathan who play against him twice a year and still had that respect to say that about him. That to me just says Bucky Brooks stuff is just washed up nitpicking and cherry picking. That's all it is.
Well, and another problem is saying that the only system that Aaron Rodgers comparing. Here's another problem with Coward lately. He's compared Aaron Rodgers to Ben Roethlisberger and Drew Brees to Tom Brady. Drew Brees is not Tom Brady. That's not a good comp. Tom Brady is not a good comp with everybody comps him and tries to compare him to Joe Montana. Again, that's not a good comp. Because Joe Montana's athletic talent and prowess and ability to move and do things outside the pocket is why he was a third-round pick, okay? He was a lot better athlete than Tom Brady ever was, and that's why with his 4 rings he's still talked about. When you want to comp these two quarterbacks, Brady and Rodgers, Aaron Rodgers is John Elway. John Elway took teams one step further than Rodgers did several times, but never could close a deal because he didn't quite have enough offensive weapons. Didn't quite have the defense that was just good enough versus the matchup they had to play in the Super Bowl. Then he gets Shanahan, and they just start rolling through the league and then win back-to-back championships, and he gets to leave on a silver platter. Same thing with Rodgers here, if you look. Tom Brady, in 20 years, Tom Brady's comp is Bart Starr. Bart Starr is never put in any of these conversations as the GOAT because he's looked at as all these players are Hall of Famers. I've made this argument before. You're going to have more Hall of Fame players on the Patriots on these Patriots teams because of all the Super Bowls they won, and it's becoming such a stat-driven league that you've had all these Patriots like Wes Welker and Danny Amendola and Gronkowski just on offense with all these
Julian Edelman.
And stuff. Julian Edelman, and then you have Rodney Harrison and Junior Seau and Ty Law and on and on. Vince Wilfork and Teddy Bruschi, and so those two comps are just garbage to me. And when I look at it, that's how I look at the comps with those two guys. And it's not taking anything away from Tom, but if Tom is the GOAT, then we have to pay respect to the late great Bart Starr, who, by the way, our friend Brandon Dr. Super Bowl, has also, acknowledged that it's one of his favorite players of all times, and he's also brought up the fact that, yeah, he should be in that conversation because he has 5 rings and was a hell of a player that people don't realize. So,
played in a tougher time too.
Right, and this the other thing is the system thing, Dave. He doesn't play in a system. He's like LeBron. That's horse crap too, because until 2014 meltdown, after that, he didn't have Jordy the next year. He played in that system, and that's why there were 6 receivers on that cover of 2011, because there was no number 1 target. You go back and look, he spread the ball around. The system was
so many weapons.
Whoever won the one-on-one matchup, all routes were designed so that whoever won their one-on-one first was going to be open, because everybody was going to get one-on-one coverages, because they ran a lot of 5-receiver sets back then, guys. People forget that. And so he just could dink, dunk. He could